Hello and welcome to a midweek Wardy's Waffle Farm update. A few things going on this week. As you can see, the RX arrived last week when Rhonda and I were in Portugal. We've got a fair bit of drilling done this week, which is good until the rain today. This is Thursday, around about 24 millimetres of rain. So you've got quite a bit of footage of this fantastic tractor on our Simba drill, and we're getting on very well and really pleased with it. Just before I get into some farm things, I just wanted to touch on something I saw on Twitter the other day, and it's absolutely disgraceful that we've got animal activists are going into supermarkets and they are tipping milk all over supermarket floors. This is a clip of one I saw on social media this week, and it's just disgraceful that they're not getting, if you like, arrested, and they're not getting challenged, and they're doing this all over the country. Food prices are high enough as they are at the minute without going into this types of measures, and I don't know why they have to keep going on and why they have to keep trying to impose their eating regimes on others. If they're against animals and they're against milk and dairy, that's fine, but other people aren't, and we need to get on with that, and I think it's disgraceful. This week also, Fordson and Mason in London, and also Harrods, these people went up to their meat counters and their cheese and dairy counters, and they tipped milk, emptied containers of milk all over. And you can just see from this clip, there's people stood about, and very few people challenged them, and I can't understand why the law isn't on the side of everybody else and helping to get these people arrested, because it's just disgraceful behaviour. Anyway, touching back onto my last week's video from Sunday when we're looking at robotics, a few people have got confused, and it's probably my fault for pronouncing Amazon wrong. The company who are actually investing and helping with AgZ, the robotic company, are Amazon machinery people, not Amazon, the shopping people. So for those of you who had just thought and commented back to me that it was a bad idea that Amazon were getting involved, it's Amazon, the German machinery company. So that's that. Also, I just wanted to read out a comment, excuse me, a comment from the result of last week's video from a tractor an operator, and I just think it's really useful to hit home on some of these points, because some of them I've thought about but some I haven't. Guy called Stuart Warwick says, "Hi Andrew, I'm your biggest fan and absolutely love watching your videos, but I'm afraid I don't share the love for this one." That's the robotics one. "I absolutely agree that tractors and machinery are getting far too big, and we need to reduce the size of them. But I think we have more than enough technology in farming and technology in our general lives. As an arable worker, I put on over 2,000 hours a year in the latest 250 horsepower John Deere tractor that has all the technology, and I really am finding it quite tired and bored using all the technology, and I feel it's not doing me and my brain any good just sat up and down, so I sat going up and down the field for 15 hours a day, not using your brain to actually run the machine. For years, our manufacturers and dealers have sold us this technology, saying it helps the operator and how he will feel fresh and less tired at the end of the day. But talking to other operators in my area, this simply isn't true. I feel we have a very real issue with mental health issues with operators not having enough to do while just sat going up and down the field and stuck in an air-conditioned box, and you can't even open a window to allow fresh air in. And I know you will argue this is the solution for my issues, but I do feel very sad when I see these machines come out on the market and feel us operators who take great pride in our work are facing a very bleak future. I do accept some technology has its uses, but can't help thinking this is a step too far. I'm not just concerned for my job and industry workers, as technology is pushing people to do more in the workplace. I feel we all need to look at getting back to basics, and the government need to look at that's if we have one with what's gone on today, and the government need to be looking at workplace stress and mental health issues. So sorry Andrew, I don't share your love for machines like this, but I love your videos and always agree with everything else you say. Anyway, that's by the wind. But Stu, thank you very much for those comments. I really took that on board with what you were saying, and that took you an awful long while to write, and I have replied to you, as you know, and you've replied back to me. And those of you who want to look at the comments from the robotic videos last Sunday, my update, I think it was 89, you'll see some of the comments from it. And yes, robotics have a part to play, but but I really get what you're saying, Stu, and if anybody else would like to comment on this issue regarding mental health and sat in the cab doing less and less, such as we're doing in here with Tom. Tom's got automatic turning and automatic machinery lifting up and down at the end sorted on this. And if you think it's playing havoc with your mental health and your stress, good or bad, please do reply to the comments, because I think it's a really interesting topic that we've just touched on. Anyway, what have we got in this week's update? We're looking at spraying glyphosate before we drill the crops, and we try and go through every field, so I'll talk about that in detail and the rates. And just incidentally looking at that, I have again seen today on Twitter about the reauthorisation of glyphosate, the active ingredient obviously of Roundup. Its current licence runs out at the end of December this year in the EU. This possibly is one area where being out the EU will benefit, and I'll agree from that we are still allowed to use it beyond that date. But apparently has been blocked about having a 1-year extension added onto this at the end of this year. Within the EU, some member states have blocked that automatic 1-year extension. So it doesn't seem 5 years since we're talking about glyphosate being banned last. So just watch this space. I will keep everybody informed on this, because it's something that's very close to my heart, because we couldn't have got to where we are today with our blackgrass control and everything else without the use of glyphosate. So we look at that and going through the sprayer. And incidentally, Ben Goldsmith on Twitter again today was talking about, or this week was talking about herbicides and saying that it's wrong that we soak our fields with herbicides. I did correct him, and luckily he did come back to me, and so he does see what I put on Twitter, and he came back to me, but he said it's not our country that's the problem, it's other countries. But I just wish that people like Ben Goldsmith and other people who have a public platform would recognise that if our country is better, he would say that we are better from the other countries in the world, because we know we are, and it just annoys me when we're broad brushed and put in a bracket with other countries. Also in this update, I had another visit to Tiller's Turf. They were harvesting some grass for the Millennium Stadium, and some of it wasn't quite good enough for the football pitch, and so you'll see where that ends up. And also we have got drilling this week, as you know, but we've had a bearing go on the Simbra free flow drill, and that took us quite some time to repair in the workshop here, but we'll go into a little bit of detail about that, and it was of quite a difficult repair, as you'll see. And of course we've had rain today, but we are all up to date with our drilling our first wheats after spring beans and spring oats. Got a couple of sugar beet fields to drill, but that sugar beet is still in the field there, so we can't do anything with that yet. Hopefully next week, if this weather dries up, we've got our second wheat and our continuous wheats to drill, so we'll see how we go. Anyway, without any more from me, let's go into this week's update. Apologies for the long intro at the start, but I thought some of those things needed to be said. So, without any more from me, let's crack on. Here we go. It's Sunday evening and fresh back from a break in Portugal, which has been great. Ruben's now spraying behind me. We've started drilling with the 8RX, so we'll just have an update and show you what we're doing with the sprayer. So Ruben's just applying some glyphosate to this land that was oats. You can see there are some volunteers here, some green, you can see there, a bit of black grass, bit of oat volunteers, general grass weeds that need treating and killing off before we plant the winter wheat. And glyphosate is a much better way of doing it than cultivations, because cultivations don't really do a proper job. They'll take some out but not all of it, whereas glyphosate it does it all. And of course it's the most environmentally friendly plant protection product or chemical we've had. I think it's been around since 1974, and so it's great because it just controls everything. But obviously when there's a breeze and a wind you can't do it. That light you can see there actually shows Ruben from the cab, and it shines down the nozzles and you can actually see it working. Here's your GPS at this end, look, you can see it's not come on yet. There you are, it's just come on, you can't see it now, the light, but there you are, you can see the lights, and that's what's great about these boom lights. So when you can spray in the dark you can actually see if you've got any blocked nozzles or not. Just see with this boom of this sprayer's not the best, it's waving about a bit, and hopefully when we get the new sprayer we'll have a lot better boom suspension on it. This was a retrofitted job on this sprayer, about 7 years ago, so that's why it's not as good. But yeah, just looking at why we're applying glyphosate here, and this has been worked with our Simba Express, and you can just see there some green showing down there, and of course the glyphosate will take all that out. So looking at it close up here, all that will just be controlled, and any broadleaf weeds in here as well will be controlled. You can just see, actually, if you look at that leaf, can you just see that sort of shredding there? That's slug damage, that is. So slugs have caused that. So we'll have to be aware in this field of, after we've planted the wheat, and keep an eye out for any slugs, because they will hollow the grain and damage this emerging crop. So yeah, it will go really well, this field. Well, you can see this is the beauty of our soil type. You can see that, you can see the weather effect, what it's done in there, and it will just nicely crumble when the drill gets on. Look at that, how that just opens up like that. So the drill will hit that, or the machine we put the seed in with, if you're not quite sure of some of our terminology. And by the way, if I do say some things that are sort of farmer speak and you're not quite sure what they mean, please do ask in the comments and I'll do my best to explain them. I do try and use things in an easy to understand language. But yeah, look at these lumps here, how the weather's got into it, the wet and dry, how it all breaks apart. You can see there, that little crack through there, and you just touch that and it just, they are breaking apart. So great. So yeah, anyway, so we're going to get in here drilling tomorrow, and the reason we're doing this is that it needs about 12 hours to get into the plant. So glyphosate works really quickly in these plants. So this green here, it only needs 12 hours for the chemical to get in the plant. We can then pull this up and completely stir it up, pull it up, but the glyphosate's got into the plant enough for it to kill it. So that's great. A good thing to point out here is the beauty and the benefit of these extra wide tyres. We have 710mm wide tyres on it. So what's that, 3/4 metre? So is that probably 30 inches wide, somewhere there? But look at that when you look down there. Very, very small indentation. I know it's dry, so obviously we'll get less sinking than when it's wet, but this is the beauty of these tyres. And when you look, I can still fetch that up. Look at that, it hasn't compressed the surface hardly at all, and that's after a 9-ton sprayers run over it. So, and you've got a full tank as well, so that's really good and benefit of these broad tyres. It's an ideal opportunity here with it nearly dark and the lights on the sprayer, just showing you how the GPS works. When we spray a field, we always go around the outside of the field first, and this is the wheeling from the outside that you've just seen me talk about. So our sprayer is 32 metres wide, so we've gone 16 metres out when we've gone around the outside. I'll stand on that mark now. Sprayer will switch off automatically when it gets to the line where it sprayed when it went around the outside. There you go, you just saw it do it in the light. That's it. And if it's not square, Nala, come here, Nala. If it's not square, which it usually isn't, because we've got 16 sections on the sprayer, they'll all switch off at different times to make sure that there's minimal overlap. Nala, come on. You can see here, they'll be switching on any second. There you go, that was all done automatically with GPS. So that's why it's just so accurate, and obviously we minimise overlaps, therefore we save on the amount of herbicides and plant protection products we use, but of course it's also better for the environment. So that's another benefit of having GPS linked to satellites. I'm just back at Tiller's Turf, Fine Turf, looking at some grass harvesting, and this is going to be for the Millennium Stadium, or I think it's now called the Principality Stadium at Cardiff. So we'll just have a look at this and look at this harvester working again. This is the turf, you can just see how good it is, laid on top of a plastic mat. for more info, look at Tiller's Turf own YouTube channel. It's Tiller's Turf TV. They've got lots of things going on every week on there about how they manage all the football pitches and how they seed them and all the work that goes on in the turf they grow, and harvesting of the turf as well, and how they cut it. Got some fantastic wide mowers as well. So have a look at Tiller's Turf TV on YouTube. You'll see some great footage of how they operate. We're just now about to fill the drill up. These seed hoppers are really handy for that. They hold 1.5 ton in each hopper, but we're the seed trailer you've seen us deliver with an auger on, so you see us collect a few months ago with the auger on. We're going to get that rigged up this winter. So there's the 8RX that arrived when I was in Portugal, just unfolding this 8-metre free flow drill. This drill was built in around about 2002, 2003. It was one of the last 8 metres that were made, and we bought it for about £18,000, I think it was, or £19,000, probably 6-7 years ago. It's the third Simba drill we've had. We've had a 4.5 metre, a 6 metre, and now this, and it really does us really well in our situation and our soil types. We really like it. So we're just going to lift that hopper up now, a lot safer than having bags flapping about in the wind. And these hoppers, we had them specially made, and you've got there, you can see the seed in. We've got a little window there so we know when they're empty. Just lifting that up, much safer than bags. Just putting another hopper in because that first hopper wasn't full, so we're just going to lift another one up. That's it, that's full. That's probably 2 tons in that hopper, I think. Just going to start the field now. Just dropping it in here around the headlands. We've switched the rollers off. That's the beauty of this drilling. Switch the rollers off, take all your track wheeling marks out, and we're going to start down the other side of the field. Just got one of my cousins who farms next to us come with his para harrow and his small massey, which is great. This is the area at the back of the office and stables we've converted. Just getting his work down, and you've seen one of my videos in the past with Tiller's Turf, who do all the football pitches. Well, Simon Hutton, who's MD of the company, a good friend of mine, has said they've got an area of one of the pitches they're doing for the Principality Stadium isn't quite good enough for the football pitch, but it's plenty good enough for here. So it's very kindly said that I can have it to lay this to put here. So we're going to completely section this off for the dogs. So if you remember, my last German Shepherd Tara got run over on the A17 when she was 3. She did recover, but I don't want to go through that heartache and trauma again, and also pain for the dog. So we're going to have it completely sectioned off, plant a beech hedge down here, and have this hybrid turf put down here, because Nala at the minute is into digging holes, and so we're going to have a hybrid turf that will be a sort of a plastic or carpet, fibre carpet at the bottom, 2 inches deep, and then there'll be 5% grass, sorry, 5% plastic in the grass. So we're going to get that brought over and hopefully get it laid this week, and but the trouble is the rolls are quite heavy, so you'll see us doing that in due course. But it'd be really good to have this area completely turfed, and we'll get it fenced as well, get it secure so the dogs are out here, because that's the door from the office out the back that they'll be able to use. So it'd be really good to get this area completely sectioned off and grassed down.
we haven't got a power harrow. We got rid of our power harrow in about early 2000s, but for something like this you still can't beat them. Just got to be careful. Obviously we've got the sewage treatment work here, the tank, pumps there, and all the electrics. We've got to be careful of this where we run, but Anthony's good and careful here, so it'd be great to get this done. I've just arrived back at Tiller's Turf. You can see the harvester behind me. This is the pitch that's going to the Millennium Stadium, or the Principality Stadium, and there's some in the middle not quite as good, you've heard me say, so I'm loading it up here, or rather one of Tiller's guys loading it up for us, and it's going on the low loader trailer back to Leadnam, so you'll see us get it laid out and put out behind the office. Got Tiller's Turf team harvesting a pitch through there for the Millennium Stadium, or the Principality Stadium in Cardiff as it's known now, and these rolls aren't quite good enough for football pitch, and so I'm taking them to the farm and we're going to use them at the back of the stable office conversion, and it's a hybrid pitch. You can see it's got plastic there, it's sewn into plastic. There's the carpet, as they call it there, there's the plastic carpet. The fleece is in it to protect it so the turf isn't in contact with the sand. You can see there's the turf, really good. There's 5% of those you can see there is plastic, 95% grass. So, but each one of these weighs about 0.8 of a tonne. They're 1.2 metres wide, so we're going to lay those out, and we'll have a nice area of grass out for Nala and the dogs, safe away from the A17 so they don't get run over like poor Tara did. Our new John Deere 8RX tractor, 410 horsepower, 4 tracks, and Tom and Ruben have got this set up. It's amazing technology. So this tractor will turn itself at the end of the field. Took a bit of setting up apparently, but I'm not quite near enough the cab, but we'll go in the cab and we'll show you in a minute. But Tom is not steering this tractor around at the end of the field. It's turning itself. Dropping the drill down in exactly the right place. Look at the angle it's coming in at and the front angle of those tracks. Then straightens itself out, drops the drill down. Fantastic, really. It's just looking at the actual soil now, it's a little bit rougher than what I'd hoped. We did this with the Simba Express. You saw that video. This is a clip of that going in end of August, and that's all we've done to it. It was oats last year, so quite a lot of straw. You can see here some of the oat straw. Thanks, Nala. She always has to join in, you've noticed. Doesn't like being left out. Yeah, you can see here, look, quite a lot of the clumpy straw, so that's just sort of blocking up in the harrows a bit at the back of the drill. But the beauty of this machine is there's absolutely no seed out on the top. This Simba drill we use is fantastic. Going into a bit of moisture, but we'll get it rolled. And here we're putting in a variety that's we haven't grown before, called Gleam. It's a variety that's 3 or 4 years old. We're putting on 400 seeds a square metre. 1,000 grain weight of this variety is 54. So 442, we're putting on about 216 kilos a hectare, so quite a high seed rate, but we are finding we're needing that now. And I'm looking at the roughness of this seed bed. I'm glad we've put that on, because there could be some slug issues when you look at the size of some of these clods. But really pleased with this tractor, how it's performing and going at the minute. We're just coming up to the end of the field. See on the screen, that's highlighting where it's going to turn. You can see Tom's not holding onto the steering wheel. Tractor's turning. There's the edge of the field. The drill is lifted up all by itself, or rather the tractor's done it. That's where it's turning on the screen. See, the tractor's heck of an angle coming back in, and the straightening out there, and it's dropped the drill down in the ground already for seeding. That's it, and Tom hasn't touched the steering wheel. And then what are your settings, Tom? You're saying where you set it up? Yeah.
So your aggressiveness,
Yes.
minimum turning circle,
Yeah.
maximum angle,
Yeah.
and that is all that. How fast it slows down, speeds up.
Yeah.
And then how far you want to start your turn after your boundary. So that's that, so it gets you more of a
Yeah.
angle. Max turning speed, max infield. Then you've got to set up your entering a thing, so when you enter the headland,
Yeah.
backwards, it'll lift it when it hits the boundary. When you're exiting, you can set how far distance. So it starts dropping the drill 12.5 metres off
Right.
the actual boundary. And that's where it seems to have
Yeah.
running about 3 metres overlap.
Incredible. And on your fuel then, where's your, please, if you just look at your,
So that's all the drilling.
yes, that's the drilling we've done up to now.
So that's averaging 10.1.
Litres a hectare across everything.
Yeah. And then right now it's doing 8.7.
Yeah. Litres a hectare. And the quad track we're on was, what was it? Say 15, 16 litres. So it's sort of half the fuel, but yet it's still pulling this drill on the back. Fantastic technology. Here's some more. That's your speed. So the orange speed is that's the one you've set as your target.
Yeah, target speed.
Here we are coming up to the end again, about to turn. Tom hasn't got on.
The green line is where your drill's going to go, apparently.
Ah, right.
And then your line that is on is that
Yeah.
tractor line.
So there we are, you see. Machine's lifted up automatically. There's the edge of the hedge. Tom's not holding on the wheel. The angle of the track just amazes me coming back in, because we're heading down there and the tractor corrects itself, pulls back straight there, and the drill's dropped down all on its own. Bleeped, that's it, now off we go again. Incredible. Great view out the cab as well. Very narrow bonnet, as you can see right down the tracks either side. Good view out the front. Narrow pillars as well. That's the drill control box. Set, that's got the forward speed, bout number, fan speed top right, 400 there, C's a square metre, and then the one above is the radio. Just shows here how good the GPS is. That mark on the left is the tram line mark where we're going to tram line for this breed. Nala, come on. And then that is the old spray wheeling. Yeah, you can see we're just blocking up a bit with straw there in the back. But it's doing a cracking job, levelling it out, putting the seed in, burying everything, firming it, everything on. We're just going to roll this and then that's it. Well, it's the first tractor I've seen with daytime running lights. They're not headlights, I know they look like it, but they're not the LED daytime running lights. They're only looking like headlights because it's just starting to get dark. Very impressive. Got back bringing that turf, and the RX is parked in the workshop with the drill on the back. Got a bearing gone in this back roller, which is one of the things that is one of the weaknesses of the free flow, but it's had it a few years, so I don't know how long that's been. Last time one went was this end one, which went 2 years ago, and it usually always goes when you're working, obviously when you're hopper full, but it's this side gone this time that Tom's on now. So rather than drop all the back out, which is another game, you can split it all there, take all this back axle out, undo it underneath there, but luckily with Ian's knowledge we can get that changed in situ, but it's going to be a few hours job, if not the rest of the day, and it's probably 11 AM on Tuesday. So that's it for another midweek update. We've had a fairly hectic few days, so I've got a glass of Merlot for the evening. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
Please click like, subscribe and the bell icon to alert you whenever I post my videos, which the next one will be Sunday morning at 8 AM. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time.